Welcome to the Thinking Green News Moment. I'm Chris Schneider, and today my guest is Rolf Nordstrom with the Great Plains Institute. Welcome, Rolf.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Tell us, when was the Great Plains Institute formed?
Well, we're just turning 10 this year. As it happens, in fact, we're trying to figure out some kind of birthday party in the fall.
Excellent.
So we're 10 years old.
And tell us, what are you doing?
Well, the Great Plains Institute has this humble little mission of trying to usher in the clean energy economy. And we're a small organization, but we work in 5 states and the Canadian province of Manitoba. And our business model, if I can call it that, we're sort of like energy diplomats. We bring together folks who don't necessarily see eye to eye, environmentalists and utilities and regulators and elected officials, and try to broker a consensus on a path forward on energy.
Excellent. And one of the paths, one of the visions that you have is for the hydrogen economy.
That's true.
And your initiative is the Upper Midwest Hydrogen Initiative.
That's right. The Upper Midwest Hydrogen Initiative, actually one of our oldest programs, launched in 2003, so just about 5 years old. And it's organized as a kind of public-private partnership. And as you mentioned, the Great Plains Institute is working really across a huge number of energy options, but hydrogen and fuel cells we think has enormous promise. And this Upper Midwest Hydrogen Initiative is really dedicated to trying to accelerate the transition to these clean technologies. Hydrogen really could be used across the economy much as we use conventional fuels today, only we could make it all ourselves here in the U.S., and it's essentially pollution-free, depending on how you make it.
A lot of people talk about hydrogen and the transportation difficulties.
Yep.
How do you envision that we resolve those issues?
You mean the difficulty in moving hydrogen very far?
In moving hydrogen?
Yeah, I think initially, the recommendation from the National Research Council, which operates under the National Academies of Science, and the automakers agree to this, and so do the energy companies, that initially it'll have to be probably at the filling station. So actually it turns out that hydrogen made even from natural gas today at the filling station scale is competitive with gasoline on a per mile driven basis if we were going to use that in a fuel cell vehicle. And I can tell you, since I've driven about 10 or 15 of these hydrogen vehicles myself, they're quiet, they're powerful, they're fun to drive, and I think they're going to be here sooner than people imagine.
Well, I agree with you. And then the other part of the issue is the amount of energy it takes to produce the hydrogen in the equation, and relating to the expense of the fuel.
Well, that's right. In a way, I think the energy cost of producing hydrogen is outweighed by its benefits at the vehicle or at the building, or hydrogen fuel cells can power your laptop, your cell phone, our buildings. And there's obviously an energy cost to that, but there is with just about every fuel. If you look at electricity, nobody complains too much that out of every 4 rail cars of coal, that we're moving cross country to make our electricity, 3 of those just go up into the atmosphere, and 1 actually produces the useful electricity. So there's an energy cost for all fuels, and really the question is hydrogen worth that cost? And we believe that it is, because it could make us essentially energy independent, and actually any nation could produce all its own hydrogen. So can't come soon enough as far as we're concerned.
So part of what you're saying is that there's an environmental cost that isn't really being measured in using of fossil fuels today, whereas if we use hydrogen and we have water vapor as our only emissions, that's not really looked into the entire picture.
That's right. And, it's not even just the environmental impact, although hydrogen could be a completely inexhaustible and pollution-free fuel across the economy, as I said before. But fossil fuels, it isn't just that they pollute, which they do, it's also that they're unevenly distributed around the world. So unfortunately, as people know, I don't have to remind viewers that gas is going up and up and up, and so is natural gas predicted to go up in cost. So hydrogen could replace both of those, and we could make it all ourselves. So it has a lot of attractiveness, not just environmentally, but in terms of our own long-term energy security and just maintaining our economic strength in this country.
Rolf, what can Fox viewers do tomorrow for the least amount of money to have a positive environmental impact as it boils down to the Great Plains Institute?
Yeah. Well, and I would say there are 3 main things, and I'm thinking now especially about the Upper Midwest Hydrogen Initiative. I think that it would be great if viewers contacted automakers just to express as consumers that they'd love to see these vehicles come sooner than later. And also contact your public officials and let them know that you would like to see this as a part of our energy future. And then when it comes to our organization, we'd love it if people would make a tax-deductible contribution. You can reach us at umhi.org. Or if there are organizations that have an interest in this topic, by all means become a member of the Upper Midwest Hydrogen Initiative.
Thank you, Rolf. This is Chris Schneider with the Thinking Green News Moment.